Welcome to Veronica Live, and I've got a Afterburner moment. Going to do a little political talk with John Salak, my wingman, because last night was the debate. It was sheer insanity. Biden was a complete disaster. If you're an ex-addict like I now am, poor Dr. Jill had to escort him so he didn't trip down the 4 stairs. I really felt like it was a contrived setup thing. I mean, he did not deliver John. And then, of course, following after, all of the liberal people, his cheerleaders, just lost it. They're like, oh, we need a change. So I think it was a setup, and that's why it ran so early. So those are some of my takeaways. I thought Trump looked very, very presidential. And, you know, I think he's who the world needs right now.
I'll start out by saying I'm pleasantly surprised by CNN. I thought it was going to be some kind of setup disaster where Trump was debating the moderators as well as Biden. Yes,
they did play well in the sandbox.
And that didn't work out. They were very, very, I thought they were very fair. And then the other thing was the no audience, the no aides, the cut off the microphone. I think it actually worked in favor of Donald Trump last night as opposed to Biden. And the split screen of Biden and Trump, you got it. That's all it was. There was no applause, nothing to distract people from seeing Joe Biden and listening to Joe Biden. No distractions, no interruptions, and you got to see the real Joe Biden last night. And I think that's what the disaster turned out to be. Was nothing about that was favorable to Joe Biden. I mean, to sit there while Donald Trump's speaking and watching Joe Biden's face.
The cuts were awful. They literally, it was, and if you go to my ex, Veronica Talk for Veronica Live, and you see, because I was capturing pictures off my big TV, and he looked like death warmed over, and when he stumbled out to the little podium, and then he didn't sound strong, and his voice, I'm like, did they over practice him? Because his voice wasn't, it was awful. It was crackly. So he didn't seem presidential at all. He looked terrible.
Here was the thing, I thought they were gonna send him out all hopped up on Adderall or whatever drug, cocaine, something. I thought they were gonna send him out all hyped up. And I got to think about the State of the Union was a written speech on a teleprompter, and Joe Biden's a politician. You don't go out there and do that cold. You practice and you practice, and I bet you they had him do that speech 50 times before they ever sent him out there hopped up on whatever he was hopped up on. So that was how we got the angry Joe Biden at the State of the Union. They couldn't do that last night. There was no practicing for that. I mean, they could practice, mock debate. But it's not the same thing because it's not repetitive. It's not the same thing over and over and over. So I think they didn't have any choice but to send him out there, because if he had been hopped up on something, he would have been so wired. I don't think he could have responded off the cuff to anything.
It was literally awful. He was so unimpressive. And then when they this one pissed me off about the golf. I was like, I don't care what your damn handicap is, Mr. Liar, because we know Trump golfs all the time, and I'm like, I care about my open border, and then Trump talking about these victims that have been killed by illegals. It was actually very moving. I feel like he cares about Americans. I do not get that from Joe Biden one iota. I took all these notes yesterday, and it's been awful. That whole performance.
Why do you think the commentators are not talking about Joe Biden's comments about women being raped by their spouses and their brothers and sisters? I mean, I was listening. I was like, has this guy gone insane?
Well, I was having a ball because
say anything like that.
My thumbs were going to fall off because Miranda Devine was texting or Xing Clay Buck from the Clay and Buck show, Matt Gaetz. So I'm like on everybody's feeds, and then of course when he brought up the swastikas and the Nazi stuff, and Trump hit it freaking head on.
Oh, because didn't he? He knocked it out of the park on that one. And he looked at, he says to CNN, and he's absolutely right. CNN has debunked it. They have actually said that is a lie. CNN anchors have said that.
Oh my
and
gosh!
So he did it perfect.
It was perfect. And then when he talked about Biden's son being a convicted felon,
that was good.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
and then of course the whole veteran BS about where was that? I forgot where that event took place. And supposedly he said he didn't like veterans, and so
World War I memorial.
And he hit that one because that's another lie. Every time now that I'm an ex-celebrity with 2 million, which is probably nothing in the big scheme of things, like they're always like, oh, what about when he said that? And that he hates troops, and I'm like, there is no way. And then when he said that he's like the most beloved commander-in-chief ever, I tell you, it is true. It is true. Biden,
it was
hell no. Obama,
It was funny how fast the Border Patrol officers union came back and said, we do not endorse Biden.
That was
lying.
The first lie when he came out and said that.
I mean, it was that quick.
That was kick-ass.
The one that surprised me the most, Veronica, and I mean, really surprised me, was Trump said, I was not going to run for president until I saw how badly you were destroying this country. And I was like, that one stunned me. I was like, wow. It's like, so it was kind of like, if you'd done a half job, half good, decent job, and not tried to destroy the country, I'd have stayed home and played golf the rest of my life.
Right.
And that was a really revealing comment, I think.
Right.
And again, nobody's talking about that part of it. I think it goes back to who Trump really is. What's his real character?
He's a real man. And he gets it. And then to think that a billionaire's been put through all of these trial cases, like he's, and then of course the woman that said he raped her, she's constant. I don't even follow these people feeds. So somebody's poking me at X, making sure I see them. And then of course, Barbara Streisand, saying, oh, what a terrible performance. And I'm like, are these people watching what we just saw?
No, they have an agenda, and their agenda is leftism, paganism. That's their agenda, and Donald Trump is he can't be the Antichrist, right?
I don't think it's him.
Maybe Biden's the Antichrist. I don't know, but it's it's just evil is out there, and I think Donald Trump is out there to try to battle it. He's the right person.
He's trying to take out Goliath, and the poor man, what he's been through. Like, who would want to deal? I mean, because he stepped back onto the playing field, like he has arrows nonstop, thrown at him. It's just been horrible. It's been horrible. Who would want that?
God sends the right person at the right time, to save things.
Well, it is really funny. Because RFK Jr. Is like hot and heavy now, saying, who actually is running the country? And I know you and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it Obama? Is it Susan Rice?
Susan Rice. Yeah.
Some done chick. Who's running it? Who's running it?
Obama and Susan Rice. That's who's running it.
Yeah.
And that's we've been saying that for a couple of years now. Because obviously Joe doesn't have the mental capacity.
This one guy started following last night, Jordan Shakatel. He wrote, Trump walked into the lion's den and absolutely crushed it. Easily obliterated his opponents despite the scales being tilted. He's a generational political talent, and it was not just Cadaver Joe's stumbles, but Trump's decisive victory that has the Dems in an all-out panic. And that's, soon as it was over, oh my gosh, I mean, they were just crumbling like a house of cards,
Well, they I think what they're more afraid of is the down ballot stuff. I mean, I think they're resigned to the fact that Biden's going to lose, but it's the down ballot effect that's even worse. And they could lose the House and the Senate by big numbers,
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
I don't want to preach red wave here, okay? Because
we haven't had a damn red wave and red wave. I can't even say it. My brain. Red wave. And I thought the last two election cycles it would be. So people need to get off their ass.
We had one in 2010, and I think we were, but took too much away from that in 2010 because it really was a red wave. And then we anticipate it, and then it never materialized. And I don't want to say, so we're not, I don't expect us to have a red wave, but I do think that Trump could bring a Reagan-like landslide.
I hope it's that
in the
John.
Electoral College. I seriously believe that.
Please. Well, Ben Shapiro wrote on X, they lied to you. They told you not to be deceived by our eyes and ears. They told you you just didn't know him like they did. They lied to you. They're not shocked by Biden's mental collapse. They knew all along, as we did. They're just shocked that they got caught. Boy, did they get caught last night.
Well, that was evident from this morning. I saw an interview with Kamala Harris this morning, and the interviewer actually asked her, was the Joe Biden on stage the one that you're saying is like full of vim and vigor all day long, and can outrun anybody? Is that the same Joe Biden? And she was like the deer in the headlight thing. She knew she'd been caught.
Right. Well, it was an epic fail, is what I put out there, and now it's just funny watching all of these people because they've definitely thrown him under the bus, as we'd say, John.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm still thinking, Kamala Harris, they can't get rid of her. Remember, the Democrat Party is about identity politics. That's who they are. The first black vice presidential woman as a candidate who's slated to go into the president's slot, you can't just dump her. They can't help themselves. They are who they are, okay?
Well, this other
themselves.
guy on X named Dave Rubin, he writes a really long post, but he wrote, "Now that the dam is broken, the leaks will start from the White House. Who knew about his condition? What were they drugging him with? How long has it been going on? And most importantly, who really has been in charge? Because it obviously hasn't been Joe Biden. It's likely Obama via holdovers, and if that's not treason, I don't know what is. Crazy." And that's so true. It's definitely...
Well, everybody in Washington already knows it, okay? So it's no big news. Everybody already knows it's been going on. So I think it's just, how far out into the country does it leak, and will there be any response? I don't think there's going to be any response because people don't live their lives on Washington politics. So yeah, there's going to be some fallout.
They live their lives by having a job, how much gas costs, what's rent.
Right.
And it's definitely impacting people. When Chick-fil-A is double, it's impacting you.
Right. As Rush used to say, I live in Realville, where reality, is what do I pay for gas? How much is my rent? How much is my electric bill? That's everyday reality for 99.9% of the Americans. And that 1/10 of 1% that play politics in Washington and the talking head class, they've all knew it all along and have chosen to hide it. And that's just who they are. So I think what you're going to see is...
These people are embarrassing, and I definitely think they must all be atheists and fake Catholics and whatever, because I'm really done with it.
Oh, they are. It's the same thing for the Jewish people, we had that conversation a couple of weeks ago there, about why are Jewish people supporting what's going on, the liberal Jews supporting what's going on with all this Hamas crap, and when these people want to kill you, okay, and yet they can't get past the liberalism. Their religion does not overtake their liberalism, and back to being pagans. They're basically pagans claiming to be religious people. So,
well, I want to weed them out, and I'd sent you the bingo card last night of words that came up in the debate, like Hunter Biden, January 6th. Let's see, awkward chuckle, election fraud, witch hunt. I think cognitive test. Oh, he opened with Scranton. I'm like, Scranton's like, please stop saying that you are from here. So it was pretty good. And then this is how you know it's bad, because literally the debate is over And Drudge Report's lead was a picture of Biden at the top, and it said, Operation Replace Biden. Dems scramble with 130 days to go. Debate catastrophe. That was, can you imagine? That was like immediately right after. I'm telling you, everybody's in cahoots, because once Drudge got rid of Drudge and sold it, it's been a liberal place. And why would that headline be so ready immediately like it was yesterday?
Because they all know it.
Yeah, they have the script.
Okay,
they've got the script.
What they needed was confirmation, and the big problem is because of the way the Democrat Party is structured. Joe Biden is the only person that can release his delegates on that first ballot. Okay, they have no choice but to vote for him. That's their own rules that they created in order to control the process. You know, the Democrats are all about control. And they want ironclad control by the candidate. Hillary Clinton and Obama were the people behind these rules. And Joe Biden is sitting there saying, hey, until I say I'm bowing out, you have no choice but to vote for me. You have no choice but to make me your candidate. So they may talk all this stuff about, well, the Democrat Party needs to do this and needs to do that until Joe Biden, and more likely Jill Biden, is convinced that he needs to withdraw and basically retire from being president at the end of this year, that nothing's going to change, that he's going to be the candidate. I'd say there's probably a 50-50 chance that he's still going to be the candidate. And if remember the Ohio deal, okay? If the Democrats don't have a presidential candidate on the Ohio ballot, there's no way they win. There is absolutely no way, because they don't get any electoral college votes. They're the ones that buried themselves on this stuff. They're the ones that went back and told Ohio, you don't need to change the law. We'll get a candidate by having a voice vote. And maybe they'll rig it, I don't know. But that's going to happen before the end of July. So
this
August,
is scary
August
times.
is
And
show.
in July,
August
Trump's probably going to be in prison somewhere, Wow. Well, it was quite the debate. I was eating my popcorn with jalapenos and a little bit of bacon. The dogs loved it. No, I didn't give them bacon. But, I mean, it was so shocking. And, again, he looked absolutely horrific. And then after, when they cut to, there's that video all over X of Jill walking him down the 4 stairs so he didn't wipe out. And then they go to this debate rally, and she's like, you did such a good job answering the questions, like Joey. I'm like, oh, my God. Number one, I can't stand her voice, so that's a complete turnoff. But it was like he was a freaking 5-year-old. You went potty in the potty, Joey. Anyone who's ever had to potty train children, it was that moment, like he was a freaking 81-year-old. It was funny. I tried to ask Alexa today, how old is he again? And she would not respond, John. My Alexa was fighting with me, and she was in biatch mode. No, she didn't respond. Because isn't he 81? Because I was talking to somebody. And I have a romance with Alexa. She helps me spell words.
No. Is he 83?
I
think he may be 83.
Oh, well, she would not answer. So she knew he did awful. So my little Alexa that's spying on me, always telling me what I need to put in my Amazon cart, refused to tell me how old Joe Biden was today. 81. He's 81. Well, that's what I thought. But she was mad. She was ticked.
Well, I'm just curious, what do you think anybody's mind was changed? Do you think any Democrats? And I mean,
no, because they're always going to vote their ticket. They're going to vote their ticket. And how many Americans have to die? I'm sorry. I'm scared now. And I talk about this shoplifting incident that happened last fall at our outlet malls in Destin, which is fancy. I went there yesterday, and I hadn't been there since the incident. And I'm like forever changed from what went down in a nice, cute little store with people shoplifting that I didn't know if they were MS whatever going to pull out a gun and shoot the lady that had engaged him, that put us all in danger that day. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
I'm
society
scared.
We live in, and you adapt to it, But
I
always
be packing. That's going to be the line of my new shirts. Always be packing, because we have to be.
Well, I was so happy to hear Trump bring the moral argument for the Ukrainian war to the front last night.
Yeah.
You know, I've been saying this for a long time. You know, what's going on over there, the fact that we won't let them win, that it's immoral what we're doing, because all we're doing is killing a bunch of Ukrainians and Russians needlessly, because we won't allow a war to execute on the terms it needs to execute on, to kill people and break things to the point somebody says, I've had enough. And all you're doing is fighting to a stalemate. And all that's doing is just murdering people. That's exactly what it is. You're murdering people because you're trying to fight to a stalemate that never ends.
Yeah.
And that's an immoral war to me. So, you know,
well,
if you want to have a
well,
war,
it was
fine.
quite the debate. You know,
Yep.
I've got a bunch of kind of conservative pundits for next week that are going to chat with us, and we are just, John, every show that we do, you know, you and I talking, it's fabulous. All the guests that we've that keep plunking down in our lap is amazing.
Yeah, we get some really good people, don't we?
So I've got to work to get them out, our shows. But have a great weekend, and then you and I will be on. I've got a bunch of shows scheduled for next week that we'll get out at the beginning of the 4th of July week. Okay. And get your X account, John Wingman. Hopefully that's available.
I'll try. Okay, maybe I'll get some naked ladies to follow me on X like you do on
I know, because they're
Gary.
always following me. I'm like, please stop. We don't want to see you. Oh my gosh. But anyways, his wife just hit him in the head.
Social media is a wasteland, and I that's why I have nothing to do with it. So
all right, well, we've got to fight the fight. It's one of our swords to slay the dragons. But thanks for joining Veronica Live. Find us on all of our platforms out there, and we'll be back. Have a blessed day. Bye.